Hi, this is Danny here, and this is a version of the TeachMeet talk I gave at the ASE Futures Conference in June this year, and that I also would have given at TeachMeet Bett, but we ran out of time, so I said I'd record it and put it on YouTube. So what I wanted to talk about is just some of the things I've learned about ChatGPT so far, how I started journey over the past 6 months or so. These are my websites, these are places I can be found. The QR code will take you to a whole load of links if you want it. So basically, ChatGPT, for those that haven't heard of it yet, it's available at chat.openai.com. It's free at a basic level for version 3.5, and then version 4 you pay, and it's about $20 a month. I've been playing with the full version. I'm back down on the free version for a little bit, but it's a website that you basically just type in questions and ask it to do things. It's really impressive what it can do. So I started off with things like just real world problems. I had a friend with a light aircraft who wanted to get some ballast on the plane, and he gave me a problem. Basically, he looked for some lead that would be able to weigh down the plane, and he knew how heavy lead was, but you needed it to weigh a particular weight. When you how dense lead was, you wanted it to weigh a particular weight, and he gave me this question in a WhatsApp message. I tried to work it out with a calculator and a pen and a bit of paper, and I got myself in a mess because I always get messed up with things like meters cubed and centimeters cubed and the relationship between the three, and I think I worked out with my pen and paper that I needed a piece of lead about 20 meters long, which was terribly way out, and I knew it was way out, so I thought I'll just put in the exact thing he asked me into ChatGPT. So I just wrote it as a sentence: to find the volume of lead, what that needs, blah blah blah, and it answered instantly with it's working out. It told me exactly what volume of lead I would need, and so that's great. But he wants to do a block of 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. How thick would that need to be that particular weight? And again, it just spat out the answer. So yeah, if you are teaching students and you're giving them maths problems, you need to be very much aware that this thing can just solve a math problem given in words. It doesn't have to be like a sum, like some of the things like photo math will do. You photograph a sum and it'll give you the answer. If you just put in a word question, it'll solve it for you. So we need to think about some of these things now, because it's not good enough just to give them a problem. They're going to solve it really quickly. So you need ways for the students to show they're working and to show how they've actually solved the thing, because this thing just solves it in seconds. So from that, I started thinking about how would a teacher. So I then started thinking, well, how would a teacher use this? And I was thinking of this for teachers and using it for their planning. So I asked it to produce lessons for me. So right, can you produce for me 3 lessons suitable for an 8-year-old on food nutrition? I want a practical activity, and I want a 10-question multiple choice at the end. And boom, off it went, and started producing lessons, which looks pretty good. I then said, okay, I want a scheme of work, so can you give me a scheme of work for year 7 on skeletal and muscular systems? 6 weeks, 1 lesson a week, and examples of practical work. Again, off it went and spat out a whole scheme of work for me. All of these are okay. You would want to use your teacher brain and go through them and proofread and check. Obviously double check the activities and so on, but as a basic thing, it saves a whole lot of time because it's giving you a starting point. I have a big problem with blank page syndrome. Staring at a blank page, I don't know where to start. It's kind of slightly frightening, and you end up not doing very little. If you can start with a bare bones plan, then you can tweak it and modify it and add your own stuff, and it's great. I then asked it to do a lesson plan for a year 6 lesson, so I went down into primary, but I gave it some other things. I wanted it to use Rose and Shine. I wanted it to include a practical task. I wanted it to use retrieval activity. I wanted it to use some risk assessment in there as well, and so it gave me the lessons. It talked about some kind of thing called a bead activity, which I hadn't heard about, so I just asked it in a sentence, explain how the bead activity works in more detail, and it then went with the explanation of what that activity was, so that was quite nice. I then thought, let's go big, so let's go into A-level, and I said, right, I want you to write me an essay for A-level. Here's the title, off you go. And it wrote me an essay, which looked quite good. I then asked it to please create a marking rubric for that essay, and it gave me a full mark scheme: 30 marks, 20 marks, 20 marks, and so on. Now, maybe you could use these as model essays, use with the students, give the students the mark scheme and the essay, and ask them to mark it and go through it. Again, because if you're setting these students essays now, setting these students essays, they can whack that title in a ChatGPT and it'll spit out an essay for them. Hopefully some of these AI tools might pick up some of these things, but at the moment the jury's still out on how successful they actually are. I then went into things like, I want to do a glossary. I want to have a load of keywords I'm using for this particular unit, and I want you to make me a glossary. I don't want to go through writing out a sentence for each one. I know what they mean, but let's save a bit of time. So here's the keywords I want. Here's the glossary words. Can you write me a glossary for it, suitable for 14-year-old reading age? And again, it spat out a glossary, and I can copy and paste that into a worksheet maybe, or print that off and give that to students, or have it on their tables. And then also getting to the multiple choice quizzes again from earlier on. I went back into that. So I want you to generate 10 multiple choice questions. Please let me know what the answers are, and it went through that, and here we go. A, B, C, D, here's the correct answer, and so on. that was good, but I couldn't really use it in that form. I wanted to use it in something like Kahoot. So I said, okay, that's great, but please can you format the above questions? This is in the next box underneath. Format the above questions as a table. I want you to use this format, question, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. The time, because Kahoot lets you have a certain time level for each question, so I want that to be 20. And what the correct answer is, and give a number for the correct answer. So that basically told me it's formatted it as a nice little table, question, what 1, 2, 3, 4 answers are, and the correct answer is number 3, and so on. With that format, I could then copy that and paste that into Excel. If you go to the Kahoot website, they provide you with this template. So I downloaded this quiz template from Kahoot, and then I just pasted in the table from the previous page straight into here. Questions go straight in. Everything's in there straight away. You're just missing off the side here what the correct answer is, but that all went straight into the Excel spreadsheet exactly as Kahoot give it to you. And then in Kahoot you just upload that Excel spreadsheet, and straight away you've got a 10-question quiz with the correct answers set up. The only thing you might want to do then is go into Kahoot and change the pictures and title the question up a little bit. Again, a bit of proofreading, a bit of checking just to make sure everything is as it should be, but it looked pretty good. It wasn't a bad little quiz. The next thing I did, and this is something I've covered in another video if you want to see this in a bit more detail, is I gave it a YouTube transcript. So I went to YouTube, found a nice video, I clicked on show transcript, click on the 3 dots and show transcript, and I copied that transcript and I pasted that into ChatGPT, telling it that I'd like you to make 5 multiple choice questions based on that transcript. There's the transcript, and then I asked it to output as a table in the same thing as I did before, and I pasted that straight into Kahoot, and it gave me a Kahoot quiz. So what you could do in part of Kahoot would be to paste the video link into the quiz as part 1, then have 5 questions, then allocate that to students as homework. You've got to watch the video, answer the questions, homework activity, which is quite nice. I want ChatGPT to be my little research assistant. It's not quite there yet, but I was doing things like, okay, we're teaching a topic on sun, earth and moon. What are the common misconceptions primary age children might have? And off it goes and trawls and comes back, and it tells me a whole lot of misconceptions which all look pretty good, and I can bear those in mind when I'm teaching that particular topic. And it's always good to be aware of the misconceptions around a particular science topic. I asked it about retrieval practice. I'm doing some primary science teaching. Can you tell me some good examples of retrieval practice activities? It told me 5 different kinds of activity. I quite like the look of the flashcard ones, so great. Okay, I'm teaching year 5 Earth and Space. Can you give me 5 flashcards that I could use? And here we go, there's 5 flashcards front and back. What's on the front, what's on the back? And maybe we could go to the flashcard software, or maybe I could just paste those into Word and make some flashcards like that and use those with the class, which is quite good. If we wanted to have some quotes around the classroom, let's produce some quotes with the scientists. So can you produce me 10 great quotes about science with the name of the scientist alongside? So off it went, spat out 10 quotes. And I said, actually, can you present that as a table? Which it did. And the beauty of having that in a table is I can then go to something like Canva, and I could use their AI tools to generate 10 presentations or 10 pages in the presentation with a picture and the text and the quote. So if you're looking to use ChatGPT, here's how you create your prompt. So I've told it all it to do. I want you to create a lesson plan. Tell it what its role is. So you are an educational expert. You're brilliant in writing quality lessons that are engaging to students. And then I want you to have these instructions. So I want 2 lesson objectives. I want an engaging style or activity to begin and end to set the context. I want to summarise the key information. I want a set of questions with Bloom's taxonomy to help you. I want a group task. I want a list of vocabulary with a definition, and I want this to be ready for a year 9 class where the reading age is 12. So there's all of my instructions, and then the last little bit I tell it what the content is. So the content is as follows. The lesson should cover blah 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 blah. So with all that information, then you hit enter, and off it goes, and it will generate that stuff for you, which is cool. And then this can be modified whatever it is you want ChatGPT to do. Be aware, I said about wanting it to be my research buddy, and again I've got another video which I'll link up here about this one. ChatGPT is an amalgamation tool. It trawls the internet, or it trawls its knowledge banks. It's not actually connected to the internet, although version 4 is. This version isn't. It trawls its data bank of all this information and mashes it up together to match whatever question you're asking it to do. So if it's an essay, it's pulling information from lots of places. I wanted it to give me some research papers. I wanted 5 academic papers on teaching primary science. So right, here we go. I want authors and dates and so on. So it gave me these, but none of these exist. It's taken the title from one paper, it's taken the dates from somewhere else, it's taken surnames and initials from different places. So I don't think there's an example in this one, but in some of them I've done, they're obvious surnames that are part of the sort of the canon of scientific research, like Harlan and Dillon. And Osborne and so on, but the initials are wrong, so it's not Win Harlan, it's like B Harlan, it's not Justin Dillon, it's P Dillon. It's getting the surname right because that looks right, and it's bringing an initial from somewhere else. So at the moment, and I think things have changed now with version 4, which is internet connected, it's getting a little bit better. At the moment, really study those references, and it's a cue for teachers if you are getting students, especially I'm at PGC level, I'm working with student teachers, they're submitting essays with proper Harvard referencing. First thing to do is check the references. If they're not right, then it's a clue that maybe these things have come from somewhere else, and they've been all AI generated. Definitely us working at sort of degree level and postgraduate level, you've got to check those references, because at the moment that's where it falls down. Version 4 and things like Bard and Bing that are now connected to the internet may be sort of starting to be better at being a little research buddy, and I still want a little AI tool that I can just set off, say, right, get me 10 really good papers to read and summarise them and just spit out the important bits I need to know, and do a literature review. Those kind of things will be coming. So what is it good for? Making summaries of texts. Here's a chunk of text, summarise that as a paragraph. Here's a chunk of text, produce an outline of that, or here's an outline, make it bigger. Producing questions, so here's a chunk of text, produce me 10 multiple choice questions, or 5 true or false questions, or 5 short answer questions. It'll generate those for you. Planning courses and planning lesson outlines, it's pretty good at that. Suggesting activities, I'm teaching X, what can I do, what's available for me out there. Glossaries and vocab lists and so on. Mark schemes and rubrics, it's really good. And essays from titles as well. Writing prompts, can you explain a concept to me? There's a thing on Reddit, explain to me like I'm 5. That's a good one. Here's a concept, can you explain to me like I'm 5? And ChatGPT will explain it to you like you're 5. Really simple descriptions of complicated topics, which is quite good. And accurate information. What do you know about a particular topic? It will pull all that stuff in. In summary, ChatGPT, there's the address. It's free if you want to tinker, just go to that address and have a play. If you want to go into it with the full proper 4 version, which is internet enabled and so on, then that costs us about $20 a month. So about £15–16. As someone involved in education, it's blown my mind. I think there's some amazing things it's going to do, and as educators we need to really be aware of it, and I'm really aware I've got over double what a TeachMeet talk will be. I've slowed down a bit, but I just wanted to go through all of this. One final thing I will just say, not for teachy stuff, I got it to do meal planning. We got rid of Gusto and HelloFresh, we're just doing it ourselves now, but still wanted to go through here are my evening meals. This is what we eat. We don't eat fish, we don't do this. Don't want more of 2 and the same meats in 1 week. A range of carbohydrates, a noodles, pasta, blah blah blah. Give me a week's worth of recipes, and off it went. So just as an aside, it's not just a little science guru and a research guru, it can plan your meals for you, it can do loads of other stuff as well. So yeah, I've hideously overrun. If this was a Teach Me, I'll have had camels thrown at me about halfway through the talk, but I wanted to really go through the slides and tell you all about it. So thank you very much for listening, thank you for your time. If you've got any questions about ChatGPT, please give me a shout, put them in the comments. Share this video if you liked it, and if you like the kind of thing I'm doing, like and subscribe. I'm trying to generate more YouTube videos and really get some content going which I can use with teachers and my students. And the general public at large as well. So the more likes and the more views I get, the more I'll be able to do this. So I hope you found that useful. I'll be back with some more videos soon. Thanks again for your time in watching this. If you made it all the way to the end, well done. And I'll be back with some more videos soon. Cheers. Goodbye.